What is up, Janksters? It's your boy Graham, also known as HamHawks42 on the internet, and Double Masters 2 Electric Boogaloo is right around the corner, and I wanted to take a look at some of the cards that have been spoiled so far, give my impressions on them, explain why they're in this set, and whether or not they're worth picking up, because that's really what it comes down to. And does it make sense to pick up the packs themselves, knowing that Double Masters 2 is going to be premium priced? And by that I mean these packs are going to be expensive, so be aware of that, and be aware that when you go into buying the packs, because while there are some huge money reprints in this thing, some of which we're going to cover today. Now I won't be able to cover all of them, but I would highly recommend checking out preview websites, to keep an eye on scryfall.com, for example, to see the ongoing previews and see what cards are coming. So definitely check those out. Also, keep an eye on the preview schedule, and you can actually watch cards be unveiled live by various content creators, which is always a delight. So, but let's just jump right on in, because there are some phenomenal cards, and I find it fascinating. One of the I don't know if it's a criticism necessarily, but one observation that I would like to make about Double Masters is it seems to be focused not primarily, but pretty heavily on Commander. There are a lot of cards that have been reprinted that are specifically used in Commander, the first couple of which we're definitely going to be talking about. So I'm going to jump right in with the big monkey in town. Number one, Dockside Extortionist. This is a 1/2 Goblin Pirate for 1 and a red. When it enters the battlefield, create X treasure tokens, where X is the number of artifacts and enchantments your opponents control. This card is incredibly pushed. It was originally printed in the Commander 19 product. It appeared in one of the precons, which, to be honest, I don't believe had any other like big splashy cards in it. I could be wrong on that, but like this card exclusively sold that precon, and to this day prices for that precon are high because it contains this card. That's it. That's the only thing that drives that price. This card is incredible. As you can see, it produces a shiz ton of mana, like a ton. Even if you drop it on turn 2, because there are soul rings running around, there are mind stones running around, Felwar stones, you've got arcane signets, like you have so many, and artifact lands even are a thing, like in Commander anyway. You have so many artifacts and enchantments that people are playing in the first 2-3 turns in a game of Commander, in a typical game of Commander. The Dockside Extortionist is going to drop, and it's going to net you 4 or 5 mana pretty consistently if you're hitting it on like turn 3 or 4. And on top of that, if you can blink it in any way or bounce it and recast it, the amount of mana you can generate off this thing is absolutely insane for a 2-drop. Absolutely insane. Like, this card's busted in half, and as a result, because it was only printed in that one product and became the chase ramp piece for red in Commander, it's a very expensive card. It's like a $60-$70 card right now. So as a result, Wizards, being aware of how valuable and how sought after this card is, decided to print it at Mythic, which makes sense, I suppose. But it's it's nice that there are some versions out in the world, but I'll tell you right now, a Mythic reprint, even in a product like this that's going to be printed out the nose, is not going to satisfy the desire. That's how desirable this card is. Good on Wizards for reprinting it. To be honest, they better have plans for reprinting this thing again within the next year, because it is just the card in red in Commander. Like, it just is. Like, one of two things needs to happen. They either need to reprint the snout out of it, a la Soul Ring, or they need to ban it, a la Golos. Like, it needs to either be gone because of power reasons, or it needs to just be printed to death. Like, those are just your options, because it's almost a must play in red. Yeah. Very good card. I'm glad to see it included in this list, and in any kind of reprint set, this really ought to be here. I also find it funny on another level that Baldur's Gate just came out. Commander Legends 2 Battle for Baldur's Gate is a set that is designed to function within Baldur's Gate, theoretically. So it's in the D&D universe, the Fallen Realm, or Forgotten Realms. I believe it's Forgotten Realms. Feel free to check me on that if I got that wrong. I don't know much about D&D lore, but in any event, it's primarily set there. However, there are reprints in it. Like, Xenagos, God of the Revels, is there. Like, what? I get that he's a planeswalker, but we've established that planeswalkers don't planeswalk to other franchises. So, like he's just there to be a valuable reprint in a draft set, which is fine, frankly. Like, it's okay that there are cards within that set that are not canonically at Baldur's Gate, but at the same time, that would have been a great place to reprint Dockside Extortionist, but instead, they saved it for Double Masters, the set that's going to cost 3 to 4 times as much for a booster pack. I'm just gonna leave that right there. It's kind of frustrating in my opinion that a card designed for Commander that is highly sought after was not in the Commander product, but was instead in the Double Masters product. But it is what it is. The card's incredible. It's probably, if you're running red in Commander and you want your deck to be optimized, you want this card. Period. End of discussion. You just do. It's up there with Soul Ring and Arcane Signet. But so it's a good thing it's here. All right, next up is Imperial Seal. This is another card that had only been printed once and as a result was worth a ton of money. And I'm so glad that they're reprinting it, because while Dockside Extortionist was printed in like 2019 or 2018 in a Commander product, in this case, Imperial Seal was printed in Portal 3 Kingdoms. If you're not familiar with Portal 3 Kingdoms, the set came out in, I think it was 98? I want to say it was in the 90s. This set is ancient, and it was specifically designed for the Chinese market, and as a result, there wasn't many copies printed. So any good playable card from Portal 3 Kingdoms is a highly valuable card. As a result, and Imperial Seal is no exception. Imperial Seal is a functional reprint of Vampiric Tutor. Pay 1 black, search your library for a card, shuffle, put it on top, you lose 2 life. It's an incredibly powerful effect. Tease up, you get to choose the next card you draw. That is for 1 mana. That's phenomenal. It's just absolutely great and can absolutely save you in a format. Again, like Commander, it's a 1 of 100 card format. It is very easy to not draw the cards you need. And so having an Imperial Seal or Vampiric Tutor that can go fetch you the cards that you need in any given situation is absolutely fantastic. The cool part about Imperial Seal over Vampiric Tutor, or the cool part about Imperial Seal existing alongside Vampiric Tutor, you can run both and in Commander. And because you can run both, you can basically have 2 copies of Vampiric Tutor in your deck. Absolutely phenomenal. The card is great. Because it's great, they're printing it at Mythic. Again, they know what the card is worth, and they're printing it at the Mythic rarity. But I gotta say, for a set that's going to be so expensive to open in packs, there are a lot of bangers, and I have a feeling Double Masters probably is going to be worth it, even at the premium price, because of how many phenomenal cards are in it. Now, it'll be very interesting to see how the prices fluctuate, because we saw there was another card from Portal 3 Kingdoms, I believe it was Imperial Recruiter. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and pull that up right now. That saw a reprint in Modern Horizons 2. It's a 1/1 for 3. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for a creature with power 2 or less, reveal it, shuffle your hand, put it in your hand, then shuffle. This is a card that was worth like $70 or $80. I could be getting those numbers wrong. It was worth a lot of money prior to it being reprinted in Modern Horizons 2 because it had only been printed in Portal 3 Kingdoms. So the supply was incredibly, incredibly low. The moment it got reprinted, even at Mythic in Modern Horizons 2, the price dropped significantly because all of a sudden there was supply that could meet the demand. So it'll be interesting to see if Imperial Seal fits in the same wheelhouse. It'll be very interesting to see if Imperial Seal goes from a card that costs, like with some printings or with some versions of the card, depending on the card quality and whatnot, being hundreds of dollars. Now it'll be very interesting to see, does this drive the cost down? I think it will. I think it will in a big way. That said, the effect is still incredibly desirable in Commander, so it's still going to be valuable. All right, I'm going to keep moving. This is Imperial Seal is just cool. Also, sweet artwork in the showcase version. So kudos to Wizards for pulling that off, and kudos to Mark Teeden for making that work. It's beautiful. All right, next up, I want to talk about Phyrexian Altar. And we have the showcase version here. This is a card that is also incredibly powerful in Commander. I do believe in past moderns and past standards there have been instances where Phyrexian Altar was a very, very powerful combo piece in various decks, and for good reason. It is a 3-drop artifact that says sacrifice a creature, add 1 mana of any color. So anything that can produce tokens by pumping mana into them can combo like to incredible effect with Phyrexian Altar. Anything that with death triggers, Phyrexian Altar can like just instantly sacrifice stuff, and because you're getting mana back, you can use that to cast spells to follow things up. As you can imagine, the combo potential on this card is absolutely huge, through the roof, and as a result, it is a highly sought after card, and so it's a great reprint. I'm glad they're reprinting it. It's been reprinted a couple of times in some other Master products. As well as originally printed, I believe, in the Urza set. Or no, was it Invasion? Anyway, regardless, it's an older card that has been reprinted a number of times, but still is seeing a very high price point. It's still a $50, $60 card in a lot of cases. It's one of those, like, every time I look at it, I kick myself for not buying a copy 2 years ago. It's one of those. Because 2 years ago, I saw it for like $25, $30. I was like, I can't spend $30 on a piece of cardboard. And now I look at it, it's like twice that. It's like, ugh. So hopefully Hopefully, because I have a couple commander decks, I could really use this card. Hopefully, the price will drop as a result of Double Masters, and it's being printed at rare, which is nice. Also, another detail that I want to throw out with Double Masters 2, that was also the case with Double Masters 1. Wizards is doing a very cool job of giving showcase art treatments to these highly desirable cards at all the rarities. There are even cards like Rampant Growth that are getting special alternate arts that are just fancy chase cards, even though it's a common. I love that. I think that's absolutely fantastic. And so here we have an alternate fancy showcase Phyrexian altar that is going to be worth more than the non-showcase version. So we're getting two different variants. Supply is going to increase, and we still have a chase version. I think that actually, it serves the secondary market. It serves Wizards' bottom line. People are going to want to be cracking these in packs because at the end of the day, Phyrexian Altar, after the price drops, you know, after this releases, we could be looking at it being back to a $20, maybe even a $15 card, depending on how many of these packs are open. But I have a feeling this showcase version is probably going to still be sitting at $50-$60 because it looks cool. We all like Magic cards that look cool, right? So anyway, this is all speculation, but I wouldn't be surprised. So yeah, Phyrexian Altar, sweet card, absolutely love it. All right, next up, Cavern of Souls. This is a mythic land that is truly fantastic. As it enters the battlefield, you choose a creature type. Tribal, baby, who doesn't love tribal? And it taps, so it enters the field untapped. With on a rare or mythic land, that is a big frickin' deal. Like the biggest deal, if I may say. And it taps to add one generic mana, which, okay, cool. Or tap to add one mana of any color, but spend this mana only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type. But that spell can't be countered. If your opponent is playing... if you are playing a tribal deck, if your goal is to go wide with creatures and beat your opponent down, and you're going up against a blue player, this card says, get bent, opponent, and it is awesome. That is a very powerful effect that goes a very long way. Notably, this also gets around a lot of effects like Chalice of the Void, which is kind of a big deal because Chalice will counter spells of a certain CMC when they hit the stack. Cavern of Souls just says nope, and it drops anyway. Like, very powerful stuff. Just excellent. Now, this is good in Commander, but it also, because it gets around things like Chalice, if you're playing Tribal, could be really good in older formats as well. Like, the card is just great. And so this is another one of those high money, high value card that, especially in certain matchups, it could be the difference between victory and defeat. And we all know in competitive Magic, the difference between, like, those small advantages, those small edges, make a huge difference. And Cavern of Souls gives you that. The card is great. I'm so glad to see it in Double Masters. Yeah, it's just good stuff. And I think it's a much-needed reprint, so I'm glad it's here. Speaking of much-needed reprints, we also have Mana Vault. This is a bizarre card that newer players would look at this and go, what makes this good? And seasoned pros will look at this and go, holy crap, this is amazing. And, you know, and people know it's amazing. So for 1 mana, it enters the battlefield and can tap for 3 mana. That's it. Like, that's okay. There's some hoops if you want to use it multiple times, but if you just want to use it once, it's golden. It's just, boom, you're good. But it doesn't untap during your untap step. Okay, that kind of sucks, but that's okay. We can get around that in some interesting ways. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may pay 4 if you do untap Mana Vault. So you have to spend 4 mana. In a fair world, in a fair situation, you have to pay 4 mana to untap it, and it only gives you 3. All right, that makes it, you have to go down a mana, but at any given time, you only spent 1 to put it into play. Even on turn 1, you can cast 2 mana spells with it. That's pretty cool. And then on turn 2, if you allow it to untap, you could be playing 5 mana spells with this. On turn 2, that's incredible. Also, the combo potential on this card is absolutely insane. Do you know how many effects there are out there that say untap an artifact you control? Yeah, there are a lot. A lot. So, like, do me a favor. Go to scryfall.com, just in another window right now. Go to scryfall.com and look up the word Voltaic. Voltaic. You will find that Voltaic Construct, Voltaic Key, a whole bunch of cards that have the word Voltaic in them, untap artifacts, and most of them spend some kind of mana to do so. So, if you have a card, I believe Voltaic Construct spends 2 mana to untap an artifact you control. That's just infinite mana. Boom. Those 2 cards, you're good to go. You're off to the races. Yeah, pretty fantastic. Oh, but there is one other drawback with Mana Vault. At the beginning of your draw step, if Mana Vault is tapped, it deals 1 damage to you. Okay, big whoop. Who cares? No, the card's fantastic. Mana Vault is awesome. And like the Voltaic action is just one example. There are a ton of ways that you can twiddle this thing and just create an obscene amount of mana with it. Anything that taps, I mean, any card that taps for 2 or 3 mana is going to be worth something somewhere. Especially if, I mean, just look at Thran Dynamo. Thran Dynamo, for example, again, Thran Dynamo is basically a really bad mana vault, and it is still a decently sought after mana rock for Commander specifically, because it does cost 4, but it taps for 3. So like on the turn you play it, you get 3 mana back if you can spend 3 colorless mana on something, you know, so it basically only costs you 1 the turn you play it. Like, that's great. And this is, again, the bad, cheap version of Mana Vault. And Mana Vault is here. It's back. Again, at Mythic, Wizards knows what they're doing. This card is incredible and known in a lot of formats as being a very powerful card. I gotta say, so far, I think Double Master is absolutely worth it. I think this set looks like it's going to just blow the doors off with value, which is what it has to do given the price point. That said, we have not seen the whole set yet as of this recording. There could be a ton of mythic and rare stinkers in this thing that we haven't seen yet. So we'll see. But at the end of the day, I think this set looks great. And at this point, we've seen some real big bangers. Now, the last 2 cards I want to talk about are ones that hold a special place in my heart. And again, I have not talked about all of them. I highly suggest going out to Scryfall and taking a look at all the cards that have been spoiled so far. These are cards that I absolutely love. One of which is, it is a money card. It is expensive because it is it is much like Mana Vault, a cheap artifact that is so much better than it reads. And that is Sensei's Divining Top. Sensei's Divining Top is here and it has been upshifted to rare. I think the rarity is fitting. This was originally printed as an uncommon back in the original Kamigawa block and was cracked in half. The card was absolutely insane. I don't think Wizards knew how good it was when they printed it, if I'm honest, which is, otherwise they would have printed it rare to begin with, because the card's absolutely phenomenal. Pay 1, look at the top 3 cards of your library, you may put them back in any order. Again, being able to select the cards you draw, that's fantastic. That's like half a Brainstorm on demand, which is great. And then tap, draw a card, put Sensei's Divining Top on top of its owner's library. So if your opponent tries to remove it, you can just say nope. If you look at the top 3 cards and the answer that you need this turn is in those top 3 cards, you can set it on top, crack the Divining Top, draw that card, put the Sensei's Divining Top on top, and then use your last combo piece or whatever to win the game. Like, that's not uncommon. That kind of stuff happens all the time. And top also works great with shuffle effects. So you can look at the top 3 cards. If you don't like what you see, crack a fetch land, shuffle it up, do it again, and then take the best top 3. You just looked at 6 cards and picked which one you were going to draw next. Absolutely fabulous. This card is insane. Like, it's so good. Sensei's Divining Top is phenomenal, fabulous, absolutely love it. Actually, looking at it, it has been banned in Modern and Legacy. Oh, I didn't realize that when I started recording this video. I have Scryfall up, but that's actually how I pull up these videos. So huge shout outs to Scryfall. They don't sponsor this show. In fact, I'm actually signed up to their Patreon. I pay them because of how much value they provide to the MTG community. Definitely check them out. I love those guys. And they actually have high resolution pictures, which is how I'm able to pull these up. But also, another detail about top that I think is very meaningful. They actually, and pardon the scrolling, this is a quick look at the Scryfall interface. They went, for the non-showcase version, they went with my favorite art. This is the original art from Sensei's Divining Top. One of the quotes in my stream, I have a chat bot that can capture quotes when I say things that are awkward. People in chat will like copy them down. There's some weird stuff in there. One quote is, "I love fat tops." Yes, those are words that came out of my mouth when I was live on stream in front of a lot of people. And it was in reference to the original art for Sensei's Divining Top. It's just a very thick top. And I don't know, there's something like, this looks like a top to me. This looks like a child's toy top that's been like souped up. I love it. I think the card's great. But yeah, the card's phenomenal. The artwork is great. They're using the artwork I love. I don't know what else to say. It's totally worth the rare. This is one of those things, if I spend the, I don't know, 10, 15 bucks, whatever it is, to get my hands on one of these booster packs and I crack my Sensei's Divining Top as my rare, I'm happy. Like, we hit okay. Like, I'm not mad at it. Showcase or not, this is just a great card. So I'm very glad to see it reprinted here. Thank you, Wizards, for bringing us another another printing of Divining Top. All right, and the last card that I want to touch on is actually a card that most players of this game and most people who open these packs are going to be very upset to see. I do not believe this is a particularly strong card in various formats, but it happens to be the commander of my favorite commander deck. It is a budget brew that is reanimation. Fans of the channel might know where I'm going with this, and that is Teneb the Harvester. Teneb is back, baby, and is getting a showcase frame, which not like the super borderless showcase frame, but there's a cool new frame on Teneb the Harvester. I love this card. It's a huge dragon that can reanimate stuff from the graveyard if it successfully deals damage. This was part of a 3-color rare dragon cycle from Planar Chaos, and Teneb is just awesome. This card is great. However, when it comes to reprint equity and reprint value, this card is like $2. Like right now, if you were to go out and pick up an original copy of Teneb, it would cost you $2, maybe $3 if shipping is a pain. So it's not a highly desirable card. I was actually quite surprised to see it in the list. So I want to throw this out there as a little bit of a cautionary tale. For some folks, and there are other cards, there are other commander cards like Teneb that are seeing printings here that are not necessarily highly sought after big money cards. They're not all Dockside Extortionists, and Teneb is a great example of that. Cool card, fun value, decent deck building potential. It gives you access to Abzan colors and Commander. Again, good stuff. But I'll tell you right now, if I'm drafting and I open this in like my third pack, I'm gonna be kind of bummed compared to unless I'm already in like Golgari or something and I can splash for him. Like this is not going to be a great card. That said, it is a 6/6 flyer for 6. Like in a limited environment, you can do a lot worse than that. But in a limited environment that's full of like Ulamogs and Bloom Tenders and like all these insane powerful cards, I don't know that Teneb is going to cut the mustard. And I love him. I do. I love this card. I really do. However, I just want to throw it out there. This set will have bulk rares. Every set has bulk rares. So if you want to spend a couple $100 on a booster box of this thing, just know you're going to get a couple Tenebs in there, which may be cool cards that might be fun to play, but are not going to give you the monetary return you may be looking for. So if you look at the spoiler list for Double Masters 2, The Empire Strikes Back, look through the spoiler lists, answer the question to yourself, do these look like cards I want to play with? If 80 to 90% of the cards look like fun game pieces that you want to play with, and you have the money lying around, that is always a caveat whenever it comes to the question of are Magic cards worth it. Do not spend money you don't have. Period. End of discussion. I'm not a financial advisor, but only buy into these packs if you can reasonably afford it. Just word of caution there, because what is probably going to happen, you may open a box and you're going to get a lot of rares like Teneb that are worth $2 or $3 that you will not be able to turn around for a reasonable profit. You may open a Showcase Dockside and you might pay for the whole freaking box, but chances of that happening are not high. Be aware of that. Also, another thing when it comes to investing, be aware that the supply of these cards is going to be at an all-time high right after the set drops. Like in the month after the set drops, the prices for these cards are going to be plummeting. Don't be scared of that. Cards like Imperial Seal or Dockside Extortionist provide incredibly powerful benefits to an eternal format, if not multiple eternal formats. So those formats aren't going anywhere. The desire for these cards are not going anywhere. The price will recover unless Wizards prints them into the ground. If Wizards prints Dockside Extortionist in every single commander product from here to the end of the game, then it will go down to a $2 or $3 card. That is never going to happen. They know the value of this card. They're going to use it to sell products, and this is no exception. So, bottom line, is Double Masters 2 worth it? If you have the money, yeah, probably. The value in the set actually looks out of control. Like, it looks phenomenal. I'm not an investment professional, but I know a good Magic card when I see it, and There are some bangers in here. And again, I would highly recommend you check out the full list. So thank you so much for checking out this video and for enjoying my ramblings. I'm sorry my voice has been a little off. I'm overcoming a cold right now, so that's kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. Tests keep coming back negative. Pretty sure it's not the big bad, but anyway. But thank you so much. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It makes a huge difference to the channel. And check out my other videos. I do deck techs as well as other talking head videos like this one on the channel, as well as new player guides. If you're new to the game and you are interested in learning how different mechanics work and things like that, I have those videos as well. I would love to hear your thoughts on those. Please leave some comments below. It helps feed the algorithm and also gives me very meaningful, very, very great feedback. I appreciate it very, very much. Thank you so much. Keep being awesome, and I will catch you on the next one.